introduction may not feel new to many of you because over the last few years I have said many times how much I admire and respect our speaker. Jeff had carried his passion for renewable energy and energy efficiency through nearly 25 years. This cause has always been very highly political, and it is unique that in such complex and often hostile environment, Jeff found ways to stay true to what was right to the cause. He saved the day by insisting on expanding NREL mission to include commercialization and deployment that will enable the lab to produce meaningful solutions to the nation's energy challenges. He worked tirelessly to improve the makeup of NREL executive team by including several forward-thinking new members. The process will continue until everyone can support the labs and the nation's progressive direction. For well over a decade, Jeff has been the champion for expanding NREL campus and played a leading role in obtaining the approvals for funding the build-out. This was not easy, none of that. Jeff is a very humble person in spite of the very impressive accomplishments. He's not known for applying force, but he's known and well respected for the power of constructive persuasion, extreme perseverance, and mighty abundant patience. In the government and politics, those are vital qualities, as it is rarely possible to do the right thing immediately. But I want you to know it is possible. And Jeff is a living proof of the fact that it's also possible not to do what's wrong, no matter how hard it is. Jeff has an incredible sense of humor. He's compassionate, observant, and very down to earth. He's a person of integrity, wisdom, vision, and perspective. Jeff joined the Department of Energy's Chicago Operations Office in 1986 and was later a principal in the establishment of the Golden Field Office in Colorado, as well as the Office of Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energy Project Management Center. He was a principal on the Office of Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energy Deployment Task Force, commissioned by the Assistant Secretary, and served as acting manager for the Office of Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energy Central Regional Office. Jeff completed rotational assignments in the Office of the Undersecretary of Energy on the department's policy and strategy matters, and in the Department of Energy Office of Procurement and Assistance Management. His Master of Business Administration is from the University of Colorado. Master of Science in Environmental Engineering is from the University of Iowa, and a liberal arts degree with major in biology is from Augustana College. And one personal note in closing. A couple of years ago, I just about lost faith that our country, especially in the energy arena, would ever realize the need to change. I spoke up about it, and as was appropriate for the times, I got completely cut off at the knees. I felt rather hopeless, if not to say desperate, and many of you know that story. I want you to know that Jeff is the person who gave me the strength to survive and the reason to go on, by convincing me that a day like this would come when a different future would become possible for NREL and beyond, a future that would make sense and make a difference. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome a very special person, the United States Department of Energy, Office of Laboratory Operations Director, Mr. Jeff Baker.
Well, good afternoon. Please continue eating. You know, at events like this, you always wonder if your family would recognize you. That's such a nice introduction, Irina. Thank you very much. That's something that means a lot to me. I appreciate it. Let me start out today by saying thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here. Denver's business and community leaders are assembled in this room. You all are the decision makers that direct how NREL is, or I'm sorry, how the state of Colorado and city of Denver and what have you is going to, in effect, proceed in the future. Colorado is really blessed with quite a few resources, including our mineral wealth, our highly educated workforce, our state university system, and our business community, which takes a lot of entrepreneurial risk. Of course, we have ample sunshine and wind. We're very happy for that out at NREL and the U.S. Department of Energy. There you go. And that's something that that we're very thankful for, again, is to have the opportunity, if you will, to work in this community. As Irina said, taken together, really what Colorado's in the position to do is to become a catalyst, if you will, for change in the nation. And I think between all of the assets that we have here assembled in this room and the federal investment out at NREL, we do have the opportunity to really shape the national energy dialogue. Before I go any further, as we have in the background here, you'll see on my left-hand side, you have some slides that are just looping, but if you get a chance or if I get a little bit long-winded or so, just stare over there. One of the things that we have going on at NREL right now is we're building a building that is going to be one of the nation's most energy-efficient buildings, if not the world's energy-efficient building. This will use about half the energy, if you will, as a normal office building. And as Jim said in his introductory remarks, it's a building that is in effect going to redefine how we actually design commercial buildings from here on out. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that, but understand that this was really made possible by a partnership with Hazel and NREL and the Department of Energy and the National Renewable Energy Laboratory to bring the best thinking that the United States has to, in effect, changing its energy future. Change is happening right now. It's literally coming up out of the ground, and within a few short months, actually, it'll be something that's real. And I'll talk about that again a little bit more as we go into it. Let me say something, though, about Rotary, and this is something that I've always noticed. I've been here three times now. I've taken some time, if you will, to look at the literature to see what you all do. We had some presentations before we started here about some of the projects that you all are doing. One of the things that strikes me is that your motto, service above self, is really something that is taken to heart here. I do appreciate everything that you all are doing. I know that people don't recognize a lot of times the specific contributions that very busy people like yourself make. Again, I thank you very much for doing that. I know my life has probably been improved in ways that I don't even know because of the efforts of you and people like you across the nation. Moreover, I understand that the club is having its 100th birthday coming up here in the next year or so. 100 years is a long time for service, and it's something that you should all be proud of. I commend you for that. Happy birthday, and I wish you the best for the next 100 years, too. And then finally, Department of Energy has been in the state of Colorado now since Senator Hart lured us here in the mid-1970s doing renewable energy work, if you will. This is, to the best of my knowledge, this is the first time that the Department of Energy has really had the opportunity to address the assembled folks of the Rotary. What I'd like to do, though, is really to note that our futures really come together from here on out and our paths cross. And what I'd like to do is to make sure that the next time that we're together, it's not so long, if you will. 30 years is a long ways to wait. We're happy to come back anytime and engage you all. So thank you very much again for the invitation, and congratulations on all the accomplishments of the club. Let me switch the topic a little bit. What I'm going to try to do today is trying to lay a basic framework of how the Department of Energy does its business, why it does its business that way, and how that relates to the National Renewable Energy Laboratory, and then, frankly, the opportunity that the state of Colorado has for leadership in the energy role. First of all, we all know that our national energy challenge is enormous. Competition for energy resources across the world is increasing with the increasing industrializations of economies such as China and India. We're all aware of the climate change issues. The cost of fueling our transportation systems are increasing. Our homes and businesses have prices to fuel our homes and businesses have increased dramatically and have fluctuated wildly. A lot of times those fluctuations really just have to do with market cycles of supply and demand. And a lot of times they have things to do with external things that we really can't control. Really what's happened, though, is that we've all come to realize over the last few years, particularly after last summer with the ravaging of the auto industry, the failure of airlines, the cost of consumer goods going up, that energy is something that we need to pay attention to, can no longer take it for granted, if you will. We've been blessed again as a nation with a lot of energy wealth, but what we have to do now is become very much smarter about how we're using our energy in the future. To that end, that's really, I think, what we all dedicate ourselves here to do, and I think that many people in this room have dedicated their lives to long before I've started on this. A couple of just quick facts, and you all know this stuff. And Jim, I'm using you all trying to fit into the, yeah, right. The United States produces about 10% of the world's oil, consumes about 24% of the world's oil. It's a huge imbalance. We have to import the rest of our energy. According to Department of Energy's Energy Information Administration, about 58%